Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Back Shed. Today is Monday, October 19th, 2020. This is episode 29 of the Back Shed, which means I add 3 to that, and we are in week 32 of COVID. But it is amazing to be here today together with you because I have right beside me my friend, Dr. Luke David Ryan Miller. How are you today, Dr. Miller?
Hello, hello. I am doing spectacular. How are you doing?
Man, I am doing fantastic, Luke. I tell you, I sent out I tried to be so clever this morning and send out a text to the church. You don't want to miss this, and would you believe I put a bad link to today's episode in the text and just
Oh,
this whole thing. So then I
nah.
had to send a follow-up text, and anyway, here we are. I see more than typical people jumping online already today. Um, so somehow these people got the text. I got to tell you a story. I drop off my daughter Emilia at preschool. She goes 3 days a week, and it's a little home preschool right down the street from the Pell's house. And it just so happened that Randy Pels, while I'm dropping her off, texts me and says, "Hey, do we have any more information on Luke?" And I said, "All right, Randy, walk out in front of your house." And I drove back to his house and talked to him for a few minutes.
Okay.
And guess what? I didn't tell him a thing about any kind of information because anyway.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I have been like almost like vague to the point where I hope people aren't thinking that I'm being unfriendly.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's been one of those, it's been one of those things. Although for the most part, so we had been spending, I don't know, it was like 7 days in quarantine. Not quarantine. Canada has two different definitions: quarantine and
Okay.
isolation. We were in isolation, which
All right. Which
the
means you
good one of
just
the things. It means you don't have any symptoms. It's just you've traveled, so you have to come back and live in a basement. And so
and you were in so you have been staying, you and the family have been staying at your in-laws house
yep,
there in Regina, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
we've been there, and yeah, they were able to host us, which is great. Brings back memories from when we were renovating our house and we lived in the basement as well. I'm sure they've repressed most of those memories, but
Yeah.
yeah. So and it was weird. I mean, and we had the dog and we had all of us, and but it was all getting things set up. That was kind of the big goal of like, hey, if you're literally living in a basement for 24/7, then what is it going to look like? Let's try and get stuff set up, and try and get stuff um, ready for the move and movers, and like little tidbits of immigration stuff. And I mean, there's just documents on documents. I mean, we had them, and it was just getting stuff. I mean, getting the dog certificates to show that she's been vaccinated and all
Right.
that stuff, and making sure we've got our birth certificates. Because, like, so my visa is an R1 visa,
Right.
and Sarah and the boys is an R2, which means it's tied to me, right? So
See, I didn't even know how that worked. You'd
yeah,
think I would have paid attention to these things.
yeah. So they don't just get an R2. Their visa is totally hingent on mine, which
Right.
means like when you go through immigration, they will do my visa, and then once I've been got my visa, then they can then immediately process Sarah and the boys.
Gotcha.
So it's I mean, but to do that, because of that, you need to get all like their documentation. That's all the birth certificates and marriage certificate, and all of those things that go along with it. So it's been it's all while, if I wish I had a picture of our storage unit in Saskatchewan. Because like I went to go get my golf clubs because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bring those down first.
Okay.
And then I opened up my storage unit and immediately I was like, nope. Like
They're not coming out.
I couldn't even. They had like sandwiched them between two
Oh my
couches, and
God.
like it was just a wall of boxes. And I'm like, I'm not even starting to open things and playing like let's guess what's in each box. And so, yeah, it was a yeah. So we got everything set up, and yeah, and so it's all good. Yeah, and I guess now I should uh people are asking where I am right
Where
now.
are you? So, like, I have been people asking me nonstop for the last several days. In fact, I want to tell you a story. Your future next door neighbor texted me over the weekend on Friday and said, Cliff, do you have any information on Luke? And like, do you know anything? And I completely ignored her. I did not respond to the text. I went out of my way not to not say a word. And
I'm so
then
sorry, Becky.
and then Saturday, I Saturday afternoon, because April and I got away for the
Yeah,
weekend. Do
yeah,
you notice how we're dragging this out?
I know. Yeah.
So Saturday afternoon, I go over to Pete's Coffee and I'm working on the sermon for Sunday to kind of tighten things up there. And I go stop by Rayleigh's to go pick up some tri-tip for dinner. And I see Becky at Rayleigh's.
Oh,
And so I totally go out of my way not to be seen by her again because I don't want her to ask me this question.
I think Sarah's texting her as we speak.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So where
Where
I am,
are you?
I am in a place called Winnemucca, Nevada,
Oh my gosh.
which is the middle of nowhere.
It truly
really
is, isn't it?
the middle of nowhere, and we have we crossed the border on Thursday, Friday.
Thursday?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Friday.
I'm
Yeah,
forgetting
Friday.
now.
I know. And so we got to the border and we sat there and we were like,
Here
okay,
come
there
the hearts. The hearts are
yeah.
are flowing up right now. There we go.
You can tell the delay. Yeah. So there is yeah, so we got to the border. The border crossing we were there for an hour and a half, but it was very smooth. I mean, like
Yeah.
really smooth. And so this is the Canadian passport
Oh,
right
this
here.
is so cool. I can't wait to see this.
And this
I'm
is
putting
the
you on full
R1,
screen.
and this is the R1 visa. So there we are. We have it right there. The visa is in the passport, and yeah. And so we actually stuck around. We stuck around at the hotel this morning for Backshed Bible Study because immediately once this is over, we're getting in the car and we are in Fair Oaks.
Yeah, today.
That's where we are. Yeah, we've been saying it this whole time. Like we're only 4 hours from home now. And so we are, yeah, the car is being packed up. I mean, and I can't stress enough, aside from not having Granny on the roof, we look a lot like the Clampets moving down the highway.
Oh, so Maggie Lagos, to answer your question, yes, you will get to be there with Luke
Yep.
on
I
Sunday
will,
at church.
We will be unpacking today. I will be in the office tomorrow, and this week, and all the other weeks, for that matter too. So yeah, I'll be on lawn and online this weekend, and so we're just this journey. Hey,
Oh
like
boy.
I think Nevada has allowed a whole new fresh perspective of like contemplation as you're driving through nothingness.
Right?
Right.
Oh. And
So
and I got to tell you, what you're getting ready to your next little drive from Winnemucca to Reno is even more nothingness than you've already experienced.
yeah, well, like for those out there, I was telling Cliff, like when you drive, like I've made the drive from Saskatchewan to Calgary so many times, except it's just so flat and that's all it is. And so you only see the like flatness on the horizon. You don't get any perspective because of elevation. But here we got up to a top of a like a pass and the mountain, and my GPS said that where we were staying for the night was 10 minutes away, and I'm looking out at nothing as far as the eye can see, and I'm like, I'm hoping there's a hotel here. Like,
Right.
I'm trusting Kim Harvey on this, that we're just not at a rest stop on the side of the road.
Oh
She
my
did good.
goodness.
She did good though.
I'm putting the map up so all the viewers out there can see like Winnemucca right up there, and you just cruise your way on down there to Reno, grab a little gas. You can wave at the Caspricks who are hanging out in Reno right
Yeah.
now, and then you have the
saw
fun part of the trip dropping all the way down in. But
Yeah.
golly. But let's see, might as well hit satellite view just to see yeah.
See where I'm going today.
Well, look how stark that is out there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just there's a reason they call this the Great Basin. So I think the last time I ever went to McDonald's in my life was in Lovelock. Right there. There you go.
I'll stop by and say hello. There's fun fact. There is only one Chick-fil-A between Regina and Winnemucca, and it is in Idaho Falls. Not that I'm tracing it out or anything, but
is that right?
Yeah, I thought there would be more, but no. So yeah, it has been interesting cuisine over the last little while. I'm looking forward to just home cooked meal in home.
Well, we can't wait to have you home, and I think that this is the big thing for people at Sunrise to understand is it's official. Like everything we have been working for over the last year is now official.
Yeah, every box is checked.
Every box has been checked, and literally as of, and we're starting this as of what were we saying? Oh yeah, so it was as of Friday. So you crossed the border on Thursday, if I'm remembering correctly now.
Yeah.
So we've been holding this long.
I know.
That's three of us that know.
See, last time when we were coming down, when the visa had got approved, right?
Right.
And we got the letter. It happened on a Monday, and we were like, "There's no way we can keep a lid on this till for 7 days, right?" And so this happened on Thursday or Friday. We're like, "Okay, we can do this. We can do this." And so, yeah.
But oh my goodness, yesterday at church was so hard. I everybody's asking me, and I'm like, you know what? Just watch Backshed tomorrow. I don't have anything I can say right now.
We've been, you know what? Okay, so I'll answer a few questions that I think I've seen come up. I know Randy was asking about unpacking our place. Right now we have 4 suitcases, so it would be a quick unpack. However, on the 29th of October, not November, of October, the moving van leaves Saskatchewan and brings our stuff down, and it should be there within 5 days. And yeah, and then we're gonna figure out the lay of the land as far as that goes. But when we left all of our stuff at Mark and Janet's house when we stayed there last time, so all of our summer stuff is sitting in one of their spare rooms. Thank you.
Well, and I noticed that Mark was watching this morning, and I think maybe there's much rejoicing going on in their household too.
They're gonna get a spare room back, and which has just been Miller's clothing storage, and so. Although, to be fair, we left a lot of cotton candy behind and candies. Yeah. And so we are bringing down our fall clothes, which are really Saskatchewan fall clothes, which are really Sacramento winter clothes.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're really looking forward to it. And then so Sarah, this is great. Someone asked how Sarah's doing, and I'll tell you about how the packing was. We would have fit, I think, I'm pretty positive because I played Tetris a lot. But I'm pretty sure we can, like, we could have fit everything in our car without the roof rack. And then Sarah went to the store and bought like every snack food that is Canadian.
Right.
And
I mean,
like,
this is it. This is, you're moving down permanently, and at least we hope permanently.
yeah. And so like there's candy, like there's dino sours, there's these hickory sticks, and like when we went through customs, they're like, do you have any food? And I'm like, ugh, I don't even know where to start. Like, but the good news is it's all processed, so it can come through. So yeah, so our roof rack has like hickory sticks and dino sours, and
Oh my God.
yeah, the golf clubs didn't make it this trip. So they'll be,
I'd loan you mine, except for the handle, the grips are falling off, but I
yeah.
think you'll figure out a way.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good. So it's been good. They've been traveling. Well, Sarah's been traveling, like has been loving this. Ari and Levy have been doing great, and yeah, and the dog Tiki is the little puppy.
Yep.
She's been the best. Actually, fun thing about this is as we're crossing the border, we were just like, oh, like, are we gonna get hung up on the dog? You know, like, are they gonna
Right.
get hung up on that? And literally, we roll down the window, and they're like, you know, here, give all our paperwork, and they're like, oh, there's a dog in the back, and we're like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, you want all the paperwork? No, you're good. Like, I spent the day before running
All of
around to the
this.
bed and getting all this paperwork and all this stuff done, and they're like, yeah, whatever.
You're
So
fine. Whatever.
yeah, so
But an hour and a half, truly, when you think about that, an hour and a half at the border to get into the country, you know, as I mean, this is it, and that's not bad. And what a contrast to a month ago when you crossed the border.
oh my
And
goodness, yes, I know they were. So we crossed a border that is just like you can get your visa and anything approved at any border at Canada, US. However, there is no, like, so we're at the smallest little border crossing I've ever been across. So I called the lady and I talked to the border guard the day before, and I'm pretty sure she was the one who processed us the next day because it was so small. But yeah, it's been, and for those of you who are wondering too, like, this is the big thing, is we thought that we were going to have our interview at the consulate.
right.
And so our interview at the consulate was like, we went to go book it, and it was saying, like, after we got everything approved, Tracy and I were looking at booking this, and it's like talking about 3 months down the road, and then it was not even letting us book a time, and then it said
Right. Like,
right,
there was just nothing.
and then literally like a day later, Tracy comes in and tells me that there's a new thing that's passed or been restarted, where it's only with Canada and the US that you can go right to the border and get it processed in lieu of an interview. So I think my thing is I'm guessing it's because they did it because winter's coming, and the sheer amount of Canadians who head south for the winter
Right. Like, they got
the
a
backlog of all the interviews. So yeah, so it is great. So yeah, we are packed, we are ready, we are literally hopping in the car right after this. And
Randy Pelz is reminding me of a scene from the cult classic movie Vacation. I'm guessing late 70s, early 80s. I can't believe my parents let me see that movie as a child. But there's a scene when they inadvertently leave the dog tied to the bumper in the parking lot and take off. And I actually pulled it up on YouTube, and then I thought, I don't remember this scene completely, and I may not want to play that.
yeah, right.
So whatever you do not tie Tiki to the bumper while you're loading the car today. Okay.
She is so paranoid of being left behind. She's the first one in the car. It is. Yeah. So we will be there. Yeah. If all goes well, we'll be there around 3:00 today. And then we've got our Rudy group tonight and in the office tomorrow. I gotta have to run around and figure out, all that big stuff gets done. And you know how the moment you get big stuff done, all of a sudden there's these a bunch of small boxes that gotta
Yep.
get checked off.
Yeah.
Everything from um, internet to getting our phone,
Cell
phone
phones
numbers,
and
cell phones,
oh
and
my
stuff like that.
goodness.
So
What a man. Well, I'm not going to hold you on here a long time because I know like probably the last thing you want to do is hang out here and talk on Zoom this morning. But
well, I mean, like really the nice thing is it's been like me being on here has allowed everybody else to pack the van or back the cars. So just drag this out.
Drag it out.
Another 10 minutes and the van should be packed.
Oh man. Well, hey, I do want to tell you, Luke, I had a blast preaching your message yesterday morning, and that message on mercy was fantastic. I loved as it just got me, and kind of permeated my heart, and how I give mercy, how I've received mercy, and and asking myself the question how I give mercy. And what a what a timely message, especially heading into the election.
Yeah, well,
for us right here.
and that's the interesting thing, like, and I mentioned it online, is that the first four beatitudes that we've looked at are really focusing on self and inward, and
Right.
Jesus makes a shift right at mercy to like how you actually interact with people
Yeah.
in your daily life, right? It's like, hey, get your heart in check, and now go out and start to impact people. And that's where I think it's been good. Also, that differentiation between that grace and mercy, and
Right.
how much is, because we like to lump that together, and all of our worship songs like to lump that together.
Right.
And so yeah, it's good. And now we head into the whole next step of what it means to really start to interact with people. And I think it's going to be good. I'm excited for Sunday for a whole bunch of reasons, not just because I am going to be on lawn.
Right.
And there's no one has to say anymore, hey, when do you have to head back? Because I'm here.
Because you're here. And I oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to encourage people. What is my dog doing? What on earth? Get that thing over here.
It's not a backshed Bible study with like without a sunrise interruption.
How on earth did she get? Oh boy, I see what she did. She got into a box of hinges, like door hinges that I have, and she pulled a door hinge out, and she's like out there chewing the thing out on the patio.
Oh, sunshine!
I'm a terrible dog parent. I am a terrible dog parent.
Yeah.
She is. Sunshine, come here. Bring that thing over here. Crazy dog. I was so embarrassed to even take her back to obedience school. I ditched her last class of obedience school. So, Cindy, if you're out there watching, that's all it was. Pure shame.
Pure shame.
I did not want to go back.
Oh, dear.
Although I seriously doubt Cindy is watching. Okay. Well, as I have completely digressed. But thank you for that. Thank you for writing that message. I tell you what, it is fun to preach someone else's message and then be able to put your own twist into it. But it did take heart in my heart, and
it's been fun. I'm loving this series. Like, I mean, and I know I'm biased, and I know I probably say it about every series, but this one is one where it's been a lot of fun. Not only realizing that I know like there's a lot of hurt in churches, and there's also like there's been hurt that's been done by churches, and there's also people, and the people have been hurt by churches. And I mean, there's also things that, people have done to churches likewise. Right. And yet like the strongest stuff that we see in scripture, the strongest moments in church life and in interpersonal relationships is usually that forgiveness of debts. And
Right.
And
And I
we
mean, it's the gospel, and I you know, Randy
yeah,
Pels has all the elders reading this book above all.
yeah,
I'll
it's
give
great.
a
I love
little
it. Yeah,
right there for y'all by J.D.
yeah.
Greer, and
He's just setting up for all you watching. He's just setting up his new series that's going to bounce off this, which is called Backshed Book Club.
that,
Uh,
you know, this is not a joke. I actually I have, these are books that have been recommended to me, and this one have you come across this one?
no.
Okay, so this was recommended to me by some folks we had on the backshed a few weeks back, missionaries from the Middle East, and
Okay.
you know, Insanity of God, and you know, David Platt wrote the foreword, so
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
got to
yeah.
be radical. Uh,
Yeah.
but then another one, and I'm working on this one. This is going to be in my book club. It's called Scribbles, and
Oh, nice.
guy named Chris Simning wrote this. And Chris is an old friend of mine from many, many years ago, who has cerebral palsy and a condition called torsal dystonia, and which just severely affected his life, and has finally put his memoir together. And
Oh, wow.
so I'm going to get Chris on here one of these days. And but yeah, there's like, the book thing has totally got me. So above all, for the rest of you in the church, if you want to get an idea of what your elders are going through, you can read that. Chapter 1 has rocked me, and it essentially says, Cliff's Notes version says, it all goes back to the gospel,
Yeah.
right? And like, the gospel's intact, everything else flows from there,
Right.
right?
Yeah. And that's just like, I mean, and you can see that when it flows out of church, it flows into the community,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I
When
think
it
she.
flows out of that individual's relationship with God, then it flows into the community. Like it's just, it's hard to, it's hard to, I mean, I want to say it's hard. Well, it's hard to ignore, right?
Well, right, and you know, there is no reckoning of racial justice without the gospel.
Right.
There, you know, there's no, you know, healing of pandemic. You know, I mean, even, you know, not
Yeah.
I'll botch all these kinds of words, but you know, and the election and reconciling how the election and everything plays out. It's like, you know, our hearts aren't right without the gospel, and
Well, here's the thing that and then maybe this is the fun fact for the day, or a little tidbit that will make
take
you
that.
put this in your back pocket and
Okay.
save it for Thanksgiving and really impress people when when they're over at your house. Uh, but but right in the very beginning of Genesis, in the very first verse, in the first chapter, it's talking about how the Spirit hovered over the waters and God hovered over the waters. And really, that word that is used is the chaos. And if you go back to Mesopotamian history,
Yeah.
you see that, like, in some of the early stories from other cultures, Gilgamesh, some people
Mhm.
would have heard of creation stories. Uh, the main character is in the deeps, or and in their pantheon of gods. And so Genesis purposely starts off by saying, hey, like, God is hovering over this. God is in control over all of this.
Yeah.
And so, like, what are you really focusing on, right? Like, that sets the tone for literally everything, right?
Yeah.
Like in the very first verse, first chapter. And that's how it sets the stage for the entire Bible in so many ways, right? And gospel is the exact same way for us living this out. Is like, if it's intact, like you say, and if it sets the it sets the stage for literally how everything else will flow, right? And through the gospel and through reconciliation, through mercy, uh,
Right.
through all of that, you see um, you see growth from, like, these true moments of
Right. And but our natural tendency is to try to do the stuff to get all these things figured out right. And I feel like that's what our entire culture is struggling with right now. I mean, we have a zero grace culture. You know, you
yeah.
say the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing, you look the wrong way, and all of that, and you're canceled, and you're out.
Yeah.
You know, you're excluded, you're done, you lose your job, you know, doesn't matter what it is. And I mean, this culture desperately needs the gospel.
It's like this refocusing, and you can get caught up in certain moments. Like, so online on Sunday, I told the story of this small little church, absolute 100% true story, of about 20 people in the church, and they were completely divided because one family's great grandfather had planted a tree in the church cemetery,
Oh my God.
and the other family's grandfather was a caretaker in the cemetery, and one day cut it down just to, like, because it was overgrowing the area. And out of that spawned 4 decades worth of church conflict. Like, but internally, they're like, you know, apologize for this, do that, you know, and forgive
Right.
this, you know, and no one would. On the outside, everyone is just saying, just plant another tree, right? You know, like, you know, and so it's not until sometimes
Right.
we get that outside, you know, looking in, or that focus again back on, like, wait, what is the purpose of all of this? And that, that all of a sudden you start to, I want to say, relaunch, or, you know, rekindle. That's the word I'm looking
Right.
for. Rekindle that true gospel narrative, right? And so I think that's where we head for the next of the Beatitudes, the TF
Oh man.
Sunday. You know, as we look at Pure in Heart, and we look at a few others to come, like, there's some very key Beatitudes, because again, this is not Jesus saying, live like this in order to be saved. This is Jesus saying, live like this because you are
You're
saved.
saved.
Like, this is your
Right.
testimony, right?
Right.
So,
Exactly. And
or I'm getting a bit sermony here.
yeah, well, we do that. You and I tend to do that. So we've dangled the carrot out
Yeah,
there, and come Sunday,
yeah,
it will be amazing.
yeah.
Let's see here. Let's wrap this up. I'm gonna switch cameras here. We're going to the shop cam. I'll call this one.
This
Wait,
this
you see
studio
this chain? I was looking at this earlier on video, and I could not figure out what this thing was. And I kept reaching back, and I'm like, oh, it's my shop light.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Sorry, just 1 second. I gotta get the door. They didn't have a key. 1 second.
okay, while Luke's doing that, for all of you out there, you wonder, Cliff, what have you been doing? What have you been working on in your house lately?
It was housekeeping.
Yeah, and this was yesterday's project. So I will give a big prize to anyone who can tell me what this piece is. Okay, you see that?
I haven't
You
guessed.
you get the up
I'm
close, right? Profile version.
Also, Sunshine snuck behind you, and I think is getting another hint.
Well, she has now gotten multiple hinges.
Okay.
Hey, get out of there.
Sorry.
Get out of there.
Sorry, Sunshine, to ruin that for you.
Sunshine. She is going to town over here. Yeah.
Randy says door trim.
Good guess, but no.
I thought it was like
To get the big prize, you have to have, it's a kind of molding, Heidi. That is true. Linda, good guess. Again, not baseboard, not crown. Okay. There, looking on the back of it may help you a little bit. Okay, not door casing. Yes, Tammy Schmorlights for the win. It is for steps. This is called,
hey, yeah.
This is called, hey, get out of there, crazy dog. This is called stair nosing. So it goes right around the edge of your stair right there, and it trims it off. So so I was able to that was my yesterday's project when I got back from church, was putting the stair nosing in.
It's good that you show that there's actually construction happening in the back shed, and it's not just an elaborate prop.
Right, exactly. Well, I wanted people to know, like, this is not crazy. I mean, this is pure craziness in here. We've had an ongoing remodel project in the house that April and I were talking Enneagram the other day, and not that I'm a huge Enneagram fan, because I think it's kind of weird myself, but she says to me, "You are a 9." And the 9 is someone that can start to get a little slothful every once in a while, where they just kind of get like, whatever. It's just overwhelming. There's too much. So then I just stopped doing anything. And so that's what's happened on our house project. I just stopped doing things because it all was too overwhelming. So I finally came home from getting away with April over the weekend, and I just like, all right, we're going to start finishing off this project. So hopefully you'll see some of these things in the shed actually get used here over the next several weeks. So I wanted to show everybody my stair nosing.
There you go. Nice.
There you go. It's awkward using this camera. I'm going to switch back to the other one.
There you are. Well, I hate to be the one who says I have to run,
but you need to go.
But I need to get to where you are.
Right. So get on the road.
Get home.
Let me pray for your trip, and we're going to send you on your way. So, Lord, in the name of Jesus, we commit Luke and Sarah and Ari and Levy to you, and Tiki, as they head on this final road home and today. And we can't wait for them to be back here in Sacramento to their new home. And so we just commit them to you. Thank you for how you've worked so clearly in this process. And God, we praise you. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen. All right. Well,
all right.
I'm literally hitting the road right now. So we should be there in, late afternoon. And and to all those out there, I'll see you Sunday, either online or on lawn. And I'm so excited for this new season.
I can't wait. Luke, I'll see you in the office tomorrow morning.
You bet.
And with that, because you are now officially an employee of Sunrise Community Church.
There we go.
And God bless you. Thank you all for joining us this morning, and thank you for biting at the bait and being here to get the good news from the horse's mouth. And we will see you on Wednesday, Pastors Live at 2:00. Have a good week, everybody.
Take care.